Joining us now is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Madam Secretary, thank you for taking time with us on this Sunday. As you know, Americans, millions of Americans woke up today knowing that Nicolas Maduro is not in Venezuela. He is here on U.S. soil in Brooklyn. How are Americans safer today here at home than they were yesterday?
Well, Americans are extremely grateful, and Venezuelans are grateful for the leadership of President Trump. He took action to keep them safe. We have been building a case against Maduro for years. Homeland Security investigations, along with the FBI and the CIA, have been tracking his drug trafficking, his crimes against humanity right here in the United States. And to see him brought to justice is incredibly satisfying for those families that have to live without their loved ones today because of the crimes that he's committed for decades.
We saw yesterday, in the wake of news of his capture, a bomb threat here at the Venezuelan embassy in Washington, D.C. New York's leaders say they have concerns about him being in the city where known Tren de Aragua terrorists are trying to operate right now. Here's Secretary Rubio talking about the options Maduro had before yesterday.
This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands.
Wouldn't it be better in terms of U.S. Homeland Security to have him far away from U.S. soil?
Well, we have to bring him to justice, and then absolutely he will face the consequences for his crimes. But let's remember, Jillian, that what has happened, thousands and thousands of Tren de Aragua members have come into this country and perpetuated crimes. We have brought them to justice. We've arrested them. We've gotten them out of the country as well, sent them back to Venezuela. We're going to continue deporting criminals to face the consequences in their country. And that's our hope, is that we can continue to do this action now that President Trump has addressed Maduro and his wife and brought them to justice, and will continue to go after the other individuals named in this indictment. We have lost millions of American lives because of the drug trafficking that they have perpetuated on our people. And it's so interesting to watch people defend those criminals, these dictators, these individuals that, Maduro was not a credible elected leader in Venezuela. And to watch individuals go out and protest and make threats on his behalf is unspeakable. And so this is a time when our country really will find out who loves America, who wants the freedoms and liberties that our country represents, and how they're willing to stand up and to defend it like President Trump is.
Following up on a point you made, Madam Secretary, to clarify, is it possible that you might eventually deport Maduro overseas, elsewhere, once he faces trial here in the U.S.?
I think we need to see and let the process play out. But in many of these countries, what we're doing is bringing people to justice for the crimes that they've committed here in the United States. And then if there's a legitimate government in another country that wants them to come and pay for their crimes in their country, we'll work with them. Right now, we don't have that in Venezuela. President Trump has talked about bringing stability to Venezuela and working with individuals there who really want to see it be successful. But we'll continue to do what we've been doing for the last 12 months under President Trump's leadership, and that's get the criminals off of our streets, bring these terrorists like Tren de Aragua and Maduro to justice, and make sure that we're focusing back on America first.
There is, I'm sure you are aware, tremendous concern among the hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans who are here in the U.S. legally through TPS. Here is Miami's mayor yesterday. She says the elimination of TPS for Venezuelans earlier this year was reckless, dangerous, and wrong. No one should be forced back into chaos and uncertainty. I am calling on President Trump to immediately reinstate TPS for Venezuelan residents. Madam Secretary, are you going to force these people to return to Venezuela now, even as their government is in complete flux?
Well, Venezuela today is more free than it was yesterday, and it's going to continue to be that way as long as President Trump is in the White House and is making sure that he's protecting the interests of the American people, because that ripple effect will continue to bring that kind of liberty to Venezuela as well. These programs, we're bringing integrity back to them. The decisions are made in conjunction with the State Department, with the White House, and then we at Homeland Security implement them and make sure that they are followed through. So every individual that was under TPS has the opportunity to apply for refugee status, and that evaluation will go forward. But we need to make sure that our programs actually mean something and that we're following the law. And that's how that decision with TPS was made.
President Trump said yesterday that the U.S. is going to be heavily involved in managing governance in Venezuela going forward. He also implied the U.S. is going to be heavily involved in the selection of a future leader. Do you think the administration is going to ask for guarantees up front from a potential Venezuelan presidential candidate when it comes to illegal immigration, when it comes to exporting illegal drugs here to the United States?
And we want a partner that understands that we're going to protect America. We're going to protect America, and whatever it takes to stop the flow of drugs, to stop the terrorists from coming into our country, we need to work together. And we haven't had that in Venezuela. We've had it with many other countries, but not with Venezuela. So we're looking for a leader that will stand up beside us and embrace those freedoms and liberties for the Venezuelan people, but also ensure that they're not perpetuating crimes around the globe like they've had in the past. So Maduro came in, inserted himself in a very unethical and illegal way, declared himself the leader, and then perpetuated crimes. That's just not going to happen anymore, thanks to President Trump. So we're grateful that we get the chance, as I work at the Department of Homeland Security, to keep us safe here at home, that we're being proactive to stop those crimes before they ever reach our shores.
How is the administration planning to do that, what you just laid out, to screen out the potential for a future leader to just continue on with the legacy of Maduro?
I think President Trump is done negotiating. He proved that a couple of days ago, that he is a man of action, that when someone is threatening the United States, he will defend it with every resource that we have, and he'll continue to do that. So his conversations now with the vice president in Venezuela are very matter of fact and very clear. You can lead or you can get out of the way, because we're not going to allow you to continue to subvert our American influence and our need to have a free country like Venezuela to work with, rather than to have dictators in place who perpetuate crimes and drug trafficking. President Trump has shown that with his operations in the Caribbean, as far as stopping drug boats. The Coast Guard has been heavily involved in stopping a lot of this shadow fleet of oil that has been trafficking illegally to many of our enemies in other countries. And then we're continuing now to make sure that we have someone in place that we can work with in Venezuela that doesn't want to continue to kill our children and our grandchildren. That's what is so fantastic about working for this president.
We have to leave it there. Madam Secretary, thank you for taking time with us this morning in the wake of these very important developments happening. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jillian, for inviting me.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.